So it seems as things have gotten worse for Electronic Arts, apparently, because they first started as a topic of conversation regarding Respawn Entertainment and how that particular company is facing 100 plus layoffs, and they are canceling 2 video games, one of which people have speculated until recently has been proven to be true, apparently from Jason Schreier, that canceled video game, one of them was a Titanfall game. Well, apparently this firing that's happening over at Respawn is just a small portion over what's actually happening over at EA, because EA is now apparently firing anywhere from 300 to 400 people. Then that's including the 100 people that's being fired over at Respawn. This just adds more firings and more developers being let go in 2025, and we are going to talk about it. So let's get into this article, guys, from Insider Gaming. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So again, this all started with the first story, which was 100 people being laid off at Respawn after 2 video game cancellations. Now, according to Jason Schreier, one of those video game cancellations was an extraction shooter that was being set in the Titanfall universe. It seems like they are going to pull the plug on this particular video game because perhaps EA has realized that they are a little bit too late on the fad that is known as extraction shooters. You know, Bungie really hasn't gotten that memo yet, and we'll see how that game performs. But as of right now, they're pulling out of a supposed extraction shooter based in the Titanfall universe. I'm sure Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers is unhappy to hear about that, knowing how much of a fan he is of that particular franchise. So apparently EA is laying off hundreds of people in a mass layoff at the California-based publisher. In a new report from Jason Schreier, Bloomberg, somewhere between 300 and 400 people were let go from the company. That includes the roughly 100 people that were already confirmed to be impacted at Respawn Entertainment after it canceled 2 video games. Here is their statement. As part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that more effectively align teams and allocates resources in service of driving future growth. EA's Justin Higgs told Schreier in a statement. So this is a pretty typical PR statement, right? This is basically the same as what we've seen every company say this year and last year when they're talking about firing. It's almost as if they copy and paste the same PR statement because they probably have the same PR team working for them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this just proves that even EA, with all the money they make on certain franchises, have just quite frankly failed way too much and have lost too much money on certain adventures that they've taken, namely being Dragon Age: The Veilguard, obviously being one of the biggest ones. Dragon Age: The Veilguard has lost EA so much money that they had to basically tank the Edmonton studio over at BioWare. And now it seems like that is trickling down because there are other factors involved that EA has suffered through, mainly one of their sports games completely bombing, which I believe was one of their FIFA games or soccer games. I'm not really sure. I forgot the name. I think it was FC 2025. But still, this company clearly has been hemorrhaging money. And even though there are a lot of franchises that still make them money, the subsidization is becoming harder and harder to withstand. They have been able to subsidize their failures with their successes and also government money, of course. We all know this. Like, they have a multitude of different private investments and also government grants, and all that money is seemingly gone now. All that money is just not around anymore, and they're having difficulties withstanding that subsidization. So eventually it's going to lead to layoffs, which we saw mainly in 2024, but now in 2025 we are experiencing the same exact thing. We have this list here that has been updated officially to include the Respawn Entertainment layoffs and the Electronic Arts layoffs as well. Even though the Electronic Arts one is a little bit inaccurate, it says 200. It should really be 300 plus the 100 at Respawn Entertainment. But still, even with the inaccuracies and even with the question marks where we don't know how many people got fired from XYZ studio, we are still at over 2,100 layoffs for the year already in 2025, and it is growing. It continues to grow every freaking week, it seems like. But in addition to the layoffs, Schreier says that one of the canceled games at Respawn was in fact an extraction shooter in the Titanfall universe. EA is scheduled to report its Q4 and fiscal year 2025 earnings on May 6th. It's expected that the layoffs will be addressed alongside the full 2026 financial forecast during the call. I will say this, if they fired almost 400 people, if not more than that, because they never really quite tell you the full number. If they fired 400 people from EA, I think it's safe to say that their Q4 earnings call is going to be a bloodbath. I think it's safe to say that their fiscal year 2025 earnings is going to be not that great. I think it's safe to say that Dragon Age: The Veilguard and other video games like it that completely tanked EA for the year 2024 is going to continue to just make things worse, right? The entire situation is not looking good right now for EA, and they have to desperately figure out what to do in this situation. Respawn Entertainment is trying to focus on Apex Legends, but even Apex Legends is not doing as well as it used to anymore, and they've admitted that it is performing subpar to where they need it to perform. So with all that being considered, now you can understand why these layoffs are happening. But in 2025, over 2,000 known jobs have been lost across nearly 60 companies in the games industry. Insider Gaming has made multiple attempts to contact EA for clarification on the layoffs, the studios impacted, and more, and as of publishing, no response has been received. And I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to respond to their, particular journalists that they might have some connections with, like Jason Schreier. But outside of that, they're not going to respond. They're just going to move on, because at this point, everybody knows that the company is failing massively last year, and the company is failing massively this year. It's only a matter of time before these layoffs occur. And it's unfortunate because a lot of the people that work there are drinking the Kool-Aid and think everything is going to be fine, and they're going to continue to do what they do every single day with no repercussions. But reality comes in at some point or another. Reality is going to set in and say, all right, well, the money's not coming in. The money's definitely going out. What are we going to do here? And layoffs are going to be the quick and easy answer for them to try to balance their sheet. They do layoffs like this in mass because that allows them to reduce payroll drastically, which makes the balance sheet look a lot better, or a little bit better in the grand scheme of things. And it makes it seem as if they are answering the call when it comes to investors questioning what's going to happen with all this bloat if the money's not coming in. So EA has basically suffered more layoffs, and considering that last year EA suffered massive layoffs as well, I think it's safe to say that this company is slowly but surely hemorrhaging. What are they going to do to change it? I really don't know. I think at this point they are probably banking hard on Mass Effect, but from the rumors that I'm hearing about Mass Effect, supposedly it's going to be a live service co-op shooter. Apparently, because that's clearly what everybody wants from a Mass Effect game. And that's a rumor, take it with a grain of salt, of course, but I gotta imagine that there's gonna be some truth to that, because they've been trying to create this big live service hit. They've been desperate to try to create a live service hit within either the Dragon Age franchise or the Mass Effect franchise. They've been desperate to do it, and every time they try to do it, they fail, but then they always go back because they want that sweet, sweet live service, continuous money. That's what they want. So they're trying desperately to figure out how to implement it in these video games. But I got to be honest with you, if those rumors are true and Mass Effect just ends up being a live service shooter, I don't really know what's going to happen with EA. I think it's safe to say they might as well just get rid of BioWare at this point, because the firings are going to be wild. The layoffs are going to be insane. People are just going to end up and leaving, just like what happened with Dragon Age. It is going to be a bloodbath, and they need to change it up. So ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, this is just another example of what the gaming industry is like in 2025 right now. It is no different than 2024. It is just worse, in my opinion, than 2024. And we are going to continue to see more layoffs, more studio closures as time goes on. Because listen, even if they're doing okay this year, which they're not, but even if they were, the reality from their previous experiences in 2024 and before that, when they decided to practice activism at the dime of government grants, it's only a matter of time before reality is going to come after them. And this is it. We are seeing it all start to happen before our eyes. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.